Did you know Einstein's genius didn't guarantee the same fate for his children? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the child of a true genius? One might imagine a life filled with intellectual fireworks, conversations crackling with profound ideas over the breakfast table, and a guaranteed ticket to a brilliant mind. But life, as it so often does, has a funny way of shuffling the genetic cards. Take the case of Albert Einstein, a name synonymous with genius itself. His very surname conjures images of wild hair and revolutionary physics. Yet, the story of his children is a far more complex and, in many ways, a more poignant tale. It serves as a powerful reminder that inheriting a famous name is one thing, but inheriting the specific spark that made it famous is quite another. It's a roll of the dice, a grand and unpredictable cosmic lottery. Einstein had 3 children with his first wife, Mileva Maric. The fate of their firstborn, a daughter named Liesel, is shrouded in mystery, and she likely died in infancy. His 2 sons, however, lived well into adulthood, and their paths diverged dramatically from their father's stratospheric trajectory. The elder son, Hans Albert Einstein, certainly inherited a formidable intellect. He became a distinguished professor of hydraulic engineering at the University of California, Berkeley. But he never quite escaped the colossal shadow cast by his father. He was a success, yes, but not the paradigm-shifting icon his father was. The story of Einstein's youngest son, Eduard, is altogether more heart-wrenching and illustrates the darker, more fragile side of inheritance. Nicknamed Tete, Eduard was a sensitive and artistically gifted young man who adored music and poetry. He initially pursued medicine and psychiatry. Tragically, at the age of just 20, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He would spend much of the rest of his life in and out of psychiatric institutions, his early promise cruelly extinguished by a devastating mental illness. His father, living in America, never saw him again after he emigrated in 1933. This family story, a tapestry of brilliance and profound struggle, forces us to ask a rather humbling question. What do we truly inherit from those who came before us? The Einstein story is not an isolated one. It's a drama played out in families famous and unknown across the globe. It shows us that genetics isn't a simple copy and paste function. It's a complex, unpredictable dance between thousands of genes. Some of those genes build us up, and some contain the seeds of our greatest vulnerabilities. It's a story of potential, but never a guarantee. The same genetic legacy that can produce a mind that reshapes our understanding of the universe can also carry the blueprint for profound mental suffering. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That the very same source of brilliance can also be a source of immense fragility, all mixed together in the great, messy, beautiful soup of our DNA. It's often our physical appearance that provides the most immediate and striking evidence of our genetic inheritance. You might have your mother's nose, your grandfather's ears, or that peculiar way of smiling that runs in the family. Sometimes these traits are just charming quirks, but in other cases, a single dominant physical trait can define an entire dynasty for centuries. Consider the Habsburgs, one of Europe's most influential royal houses. For generations, they were famous for a very distinctive facial feature, the Habsburg jaw. This prominent lower jaw, or mandibular prognathism, was a clear family signature, passed down with almost comical regularity. This jawline is documented in countless royal portraits from Charles V in the 16th century to Charles II of Spain in the 17th. It became so pronounced in Charles II that it reportedly made it difficult for him to speak or chew properly. While it symbolized lineage, it was also the result of generations of strategic inbreeding. The Habsburg jaw is a stark visual lesson in dominant and recessive genes. Concentrate a trait, and it can become overwhelmingly prevalent, written not in ink, but in bone. Then we have the almost unbelievable case of the Jim twins. Identical twins, Jim Lewis and Jim Springer, were separated at 4 weeks in 1940 and raised by different families in Ohio. At 39, they reunited to find staggering similarities. Both had married and divorced women named Linda, remarried women named Betty, had sons named James Allen and James Allen, owned a dog named Toy, drove light blue Chevrolets, chain-smoked the same brand, and vacationed on the same Florida beach. Both worked part-time as sheriff's deputies, enjoyed carpentry, and suffered tension headaches. Their story became a cornerstone of the Minnesota twin study, suggesting our DNA may nudge even the fine details of our lives. If there was ever a family that seemed to possess a genius gene, it would surely be the Darwin-Galton clan. We all know Charles Darwin, the revolutionary naturalist who gave us the theory of evolution, but his family tree was rich with intellect. His grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, was a renowned physician, poet, and inventor. And his cousin, Sir Francis Galton, anthropologist, statistician, pioneer of meteorology, coined the term nature versus nurture and traced eminent lineages to study heritability. He observed that greatness seemed to run in families, concluding natural ability was passed down like physical traits. He couldn't have known about DNA's complexity, and he later fathered the eugenics movement, a dark misapplication of heredity. Yet the core question remains captivating. A single genius gene is a vast oversimplification. Intelligence is polygenic, shaped by thousands of genes. Think less light switch and more a vast mixing desk of tiny faders, some nudging maths up, others verbal reasoning. IQ studies show a strong hereditary component, but potential is not performance. So we've been talking a lot about genes, but what exactly are these mysterious things that hold so much power over our lives? Imagine your body as a massive building. DNA is the complete set of blueprints. The master plan lives in the nucleus, a staggeringly long document with instructions for eye color and how your liver processes toxins. A gene is a specific instruction. One gene builds hemoglobin, another creates hair pigment. You get one full set from your mother and one from your father. 2 copies per gene, called alleles. Those copies may differ. Your mother might give the blue eye gene, your father the brown eye gene. Which wins? Dominant versus recessive. Brown is dominant. 1 brown plus 1 blue yields brown eyes. The blue still hides and can be passed on, needing 2 copies to appear, which is why traits can skip generations. It's rarely that simple. Many traits, like height, skin color, and disease risks such as diabetes, are polygenic from many genes working together. Environment also constantly interacts with genes. You might have genes for being very tall, but poor childhood nutrition can stall that potential. Your genes are the blueprint, but life experiences, diet, and environment are the builders that construct the final structure. It's a dynamic, lifelong collaboration. One of the most powerful tools to untangle nature and nurture is the study of twins, especially identical twins raised apart. Identical twins are genetic clones. They share 100% of their DNA. So differences in health, personality, or intelligence reflect environment. The landmark Minnesota twin study, beginning in the late 1970s, brought the Jim twins to fame and produced startling findings in behavioral genetics. Led by Thomas J. Bouchard Jr., researchers studied over 100 sets of separated identical and fraternal twins from around the world. They measured everything from IQ and personality traits like extroversion and conscientiousness to religious and political leanings, hobbies, and even dental health. If genes mattered little, identical twins raised apart should be no more similar than strangers. But they were remarkably similar in appearance, intelligence, core personality, and idiosyncratic habits. They often shared phobias, similar levels of happiness, and even the way they laughed or gestured. The study concluded genes are surprisingly powerful. For general intelligence, IQ, about 70% of population differences were attributable to genetic variation. Still, our destinies are not written in stone. For centuries, thinkers debated nature versus nurture. Are we products of biology or experience? It captivated philosophers, scientists, and parents alike. It long seemed an either-or, but modern science shows that's a false dichotomy. It's nature via nurture. Genes and environment are partners in an intricate, lifelong dance. Behavioral geneticists like Robert Plumin show genetics often explains around 50% of psychological differences, from personality to mental health, leaving the rest to environment. But the key is the non-shared environment. Unique experiences one sibling has that the other doesn't. Different friends, a pivotal teacher, even random illness. These unpredictable events interact with predispositions to steer us uniquely. So even twins in the same home are never identical in character. Genes don't dictate fate, they deal us a hand. Choices, environments, and chance determine how we play it. A predisposition for anxiety may thrive in calm settings but struggle in high-stress jobs. A musical gift needs access to a piano. Old wives' tales about inheritance can be charming, but they rarely survive scientific scrutiny. One persistent myth says intelligence comes exclusively from the mother because sons inherit their X chromosome from mum. While the X carries many genes, including brain development, that claim is a massive oversimplification. Intelligence is polygenic, involving thousands of genes across all chromosomes, not just the X. Fathers contribute equally to these autosomal genes. Another myth says children, especially daughters, inherit looks from dad. Newborns may slightly resemble fathers, perhaps aiding bonding, but the effect fades quickly. In reality, you inherit 50% from each parent, and trait expression is a genetic lottery of dominant and recessive alleles. Your face is a genetic mosaic. There's no simple rule you'll resemble one parent more. It depends on the specific alleles you happen to inherit for facial structure, coloring, and features. So when someone insists you got your brains from one parent and looks from the other, smile politely, because the real story is wonderfully more complicated. Beyond intelligence and looks, what about that most elusive of qualities? Talent. The name Mozart springs to mind. Wolfgang Amadeus, a once-in-a-millennium prodigy, composed from age 5. But he wasn't a complete anomaly. Leopold was an accomplished composer who meticulously nurtured his son, and Maria Anna Nano was a phenomenal keyboardist, some considered more talented in youth. How did one Yorkshire family produce 3 great novelists, Charlotte, Jane Eyre, Emily, Wuthering Heights, Anne, the tenant of Wildfell Hall? Their brother Branwell showed promise, but addiction derailed him. The Brontes highlight shared genetics and a unique environment. A home filled with books, creative encouragement, and a rich imaginative world in relative isolation. Entertainment is rife with dynasties. The Barrymores, Maurice, Lionel, Ethel, John Drew, and Drew Barrymore, and the Fondas, Henry, Peter, and Jane. There's no single acting or writing gene, likely a blend of inherited traits like emotional expressiveness, creativity, and risk tolerance. Environment is massive. Art valued at home, craft discussed at dinner, and industry connections. When genetics meets a nurturing, specialized environment, results can echo through generations. After this whirlwind tour, royal jaws, identical twins, genius families, we arrive at the most personal question of all: who are you? The answer, as we've seen, is not a simple one. You are not just a product of your upbringing, nor are you a walking, talking printout of your parents' DNA. You are the result of a spectacular ongoing conversation between the two. You are a story written in the ancient ink of your ancestors' genes, edit, revise, and you add new chapters with every choice and experience. It's a collaboration between your inherited blueprint and the life you build upon it. You are a mosaic, a patchwork of traits passed down through countless generations. Great-grandmother's resilience, father's sense of humor, a predisposition for freckles from a distant ancestor. You may also carry echoes of their struggles, tendency towards melancholy, or risk for a certain illness. Science shows these influences shape our personalities, our health, and even our preferences in subtle ways. Yet your genetic legacy is not a cage, it is a foundation, the raw material from which you sculpt your identity. Understanding inheritance doesn't diminish the magic of being human, it enhances it. We are living libraries of those who came before. It's humbling that the same forces that shaped Einstein's and Darwin's are at play within our cells, and empowering that genes may whisper suggestions, not shout commands. We have the capacity to learn, to grow, to overcome. We can build habits that support our health, seek environments where we thrive, and make choices that defy genetic expectation. Next time you see a family trait in the mirror or recognize a parent's quirk, pause to honor the journey that brought you here. You are a one-of-a-kind combination of nature and nurture. It's a truly mind-blowing thought, isn't it? If you enjoyed this exploration, subscribe to MedicineHealth 360. Please give this video a thumbs up. Check out more videos on this channel. There's a whole world of discovery waiting. Thank you for watching.